Now, the government is gradually phasing out the use of the B40, M40 and T20 income classification to make way for a new system that can better depict Malaysians' current economic situation. Associate Director at BowerGroupAsia, Hafidzi Radzali, outlines how best to approach the matter.
We'll have to be clear on what really is the definition of income here, because what's typically used before this is gross income. So what we should be using is a net income after deducting your statutory declarations, the statutory payment, taxation, for example, right? And the second aspect of it is where you're actually living at, the geographical locations, because if you're living in Klang Valley, the cost of living are different from what you may be facing through if you're living in Alosta, for example. And the third part of it is on the household reality, right? We'll have to consider how many people are actually living within the same households and how many people within the household is actually earning to support the number of people living in the same household. So what we term this is we want to equalize the household income so that we get a better representation on whether a family is okay to do financially or not, and if there's any assistance that's required.
Hafidzi said the next challenge for the government is to accurately identify households' needs to better align financial aid for those facing cost of living difficulties.
Yeah, in the long run, it's good because then we'll have a better reading of what's happening economically of the people, right? But there's a challenge to that as well, and challenge is identifying how people are living their life. And the recent guidance released by the EPF, which is called Belanjawan, is a good reading of how we should carry this forward, because then you'll be able to identify how much do people or families really need in order for you to live a dignified living across different locations in Malaysia. So it's a realistic project. And what's more important is to make sure that the government has access to the data that require in order for the reading to be as accurate as possible. You will not be 100% accurate, but if you have a good reading of it, then that's good enough to guide your policy decisions moving forward, right? And of course, you won't have specific numbers that you can target, but we can start off by a range that's considered as reasonable by a large number of the population. So the expectation on the ground and the policy making will have to come to a meeting point. And to me, that's the more difficult part, to make sure that both of the sides are aligned at the center so that there's a win-win situation, right?